What, really drew you into the script? What's the premise of it so that audiences can better understand just the premise, the storyline, and your character?
Yeah, so I received this text from a casting director that, okay, this film is happening and we need to test you for it. And to my surprise, it was a character of a person who's not professionally a driver, but someone who's teaching someone how to drive, who
Hmm.
used to own a company which somehow bombed. And now it's a state of, he's just trying to survive anyhow, trying to make it up for his family. And how he meets this old lady, Devika, who wants to learn driving for whatever reasons she has in her life right now. So how the two meet, how he tries to, how they both fill in some void in their lives, and how it impacts my character's wife's life. So the story revolves around that. It's a slice of life drama. As soon as I got the script, a brief of the story, I was game because it's really important to tell stories that are simple, that are relatable, and not necessarily it has to be, larger than life. It can be simple, it can be peaceful, quiet. So it's one of such films which will give you a smile on your face and you'll crackle sometimes. You'll feel a little sad for the character sometimes. Not a very big roller coaster, but a simple, peaceful, beautiful film. So I was all in as soon as I tested. I got selected and we prepped for it for a month or two. We did some readings and we went for the shoot. We shot this in Vadodara. It's in
Okay.
Gujarat. Yeah, it was an all-out 8-day continuous shoot. We shot this film on an iPhone. That's
On
a
an
very big trivia.
iPhone.
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
to my yeah, even I was surprised because I had no clue. While shooting, also when we did the first scene, and I saw these two phones in front of the car on the rig, and sir said, "Okay, action." And we did the scene. I thought maybe that's a rehearsal because we might be putting in the cameras and then doing it. Maybe
Yeah.
he's just checking the frames on the phone. But to my surprise, it was the final take, and the whole film was shot on an iPhone, and it looks good on the big screen. That's a good news.
Did they explain why they chose an iPhone over like a full-fledged camera crew, or was that something that you kind of found out later on?
Uh, I believe that the director and the makers are trying to experiment.
Okay.
That how can stories like these, which don't have big budgets,
Hmm.
how can we cut down on budgets and still give, if not equivalent to the camera product, somewhere near to that. Okay, so they're trying to experiment through iPhones and lenses. They used anamorphic lenses. They got lenses from here, from the US, from Germany,
Mm.
and they're using LUTs from different softwares. They used ARRI also somewhere, as much as I remember. So the color grading was proficient.
Interesting.
The DI went well. So all of it, see, experiments not necessarily have to be perfect. You can't
Yeah.
expect something perfect coming out of it. But if it's doing the purpose, I think good to go.
That's really interesting. I mean, I think nowadays you kind of see different ways that films are being made, especially ones that are, featurettes like Madam Driver, where it is interesting. You can see some that are made with AI. You see some that are made, with now iPhones or just
Yeah,
anything that's a new form of technology that goes beyond what is considered a traditional camera,
right.
which is really interesting. So, as it, was screened at the New York Indian Film Festival, beyond what you had kind of mentioned earlier about just the festival itself being a really great experience and the atmosphere of the festival, were you able to gauge some of the audience reactions to, the featurette, to Madam Driver, to what people were really thinking? And then that's part one of the question. And then part two is, beyond maybe what those audiences were able to take away, what are you hoping that additional audiences, anyone that views Madam Driver, is able to kind of take away from the film?
Uh-huh. So we'll start with my experiences in NYIFF.
Hmm.
It was really different for me because the audience here, I think they were more receptive to the story than the audience I found in India during the screening. I believe because the regular battles in the US, you know, are still relevant. I don't know. It's just cultural. Because in India, if you see an old lady trying to learn, it looks like something that doesn't exist. It's an outer world story. You
Mm.
you don't see many old ladies trying to learn driving.
Yeah.
So it's just another textbook story for them. This is
Mm.
what I feel. That's very personal. And here, I think everybody could relate to it.
Mm.
Because here in this country, I think everybody's so independent. Everybody's doing his or her own stuff,
Yeah.
starting from waking up till sleeping. You have to do everything on your own. So taking driving lessons at that age was more relatable to the people watching the film in the US. This is what I felt. They could actually feel the difficulties that that the lady was facing, how the man was teaching, and what she would have gone through being an individual, being a single lady
Yeah.
trying to make it in her life. So I think because of the cultural differences, and of course the Indian audience in the US who get this nostalgia of
Mm.
okay how people are living there still, how it's still a struggle to get into the shoes of this lady Devika who's learning how to drive. So I believe people were more receptive here.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they did not enjoy that in India, but the perspective was completely different.
Mm. Okay.
They smiled, they smiled at different points. Here they smile at different points. So I could sense the difference in both the places.
Interesting. Do you feel like
Yeah.
it's because in India it might not be the norm for older women or,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
the elder generation to be able to learn new things, how to drive? Normally, you kind of follow a pretty straight path. Do you feel like that might be the case there
That
versus
is,
NRIs that are here that might have a different experience?
yes, yes, that's absolutely a case. Because there we believe that okay, if you're done, you crossed 60, you crossed 65. Now it's time to rest.
Hmm.
Now it's time to rest it out and just leave it to the universe to see whatever happens.
Yeah.
You take a spiritual path, you do different things, but here it's never ending.
Yeah.
So I think that's a major difference. And the story that we were trying to tell through Madam Driver is again, it's very strongly a feminist film.
Hmm.
Where it should be a norm. It tries to say that it should be a norm. That
Yeah.
no matter what your age is, no matter what your situation is, what you have to do and what you want to do, you should just go for it. If you're convinced enough, if you have that strong conviction that okay, I want to do this no matter what age, I want to start working out at the age of 70, I still can do it.
Hmm.
And if you strongly believe in it, the world will follow you. The universe aligns things in a way that it will happen for you. So the same thing happened with Devika in our film. She finds Hassan who teaches her how to drive. She teaches her how to have a happy life, how to invest, how to be financially strong, and all of that goes hand in hand. So it's a very strong message in the film, but again, it's not in your face. It's not highly dramatic. It doesn't give you that message. Okay, this is we are promoting feminism. No, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be special.
Yeah.
It should be normal. So that's what the tempo of the film is.
Yeah. You're insinuating that it should just be realistic, right? Like that anybody at any age
Yes.
should be able to learn how to drive, whether they're a man or a woman. So that's an interesting point because I know I've seen this shift, especially in South Asian, media and films and television in general, of showcasing more stories of specifically women above a certain age group, right? We've seen this for a while where it's always been, under a certain age group, you kind of show the rom-coms in your 20s or your 30s. And then you kind of forget
Yeah.
to talk about people once they're older, once they've left that, time of life. Do you feel like
Yes.
that might be where, Indian entertainment or just the South Asian entertainment is going in general, which is kind of showcasing whether it's in short films, featurettes, television shows, web series, is these, not that they're mundane, but everyday stories of human beings, kind of showing these like slice of life stories that go beyond the dramatic romance films, drama films, action films, but ones that you're saying that will really resonate with an everyday audience? Or do you kind of feel like it's a good mix of both that are currently there and you're able to kind of see a little bit of either option?
Yeah. So for me personally, I believe that if you're making a film,
Mhm.
every film finds its audience. If it's a complete actioner, suppose it's a complete entertainer, where you're investing huge budgets, it necessarily doesn't make sense. It's over the top. It's larger than life. It'll find its audience. Then it becomes a number game. Then you have this the type of films which don't even have a background music. That are very slow. They're very real. uh, it finds its audience. Both can become classics in their own way, both these categories. And then you try to find a midway where, okay, you are entertaining the audience while you are telling the story that you want to tell in the same manner that it should have been. So I think that mid ground is picking up gradually in India. Those 15 to 30 crore rupee films,
Mhm.
which have a strong message, which have a story from small towns, which have realistic uh, stories which are relatable, but with some value of entertainment. Because I think that's what any normal person would be looking for after a very hectic day or maybe after a very hectic month, and they just plan to go out for a film and spend a few bucks in the theater. They would deserve some entertainment. They can't just go and watch the same thing that they've lived for a month.
Mhm.
They want to see something that can't be experienced in real life. They want to see people happy. They want to see success. They want to see hope. They want to see dreams turning into reality. That's what keeps them going. That's what keeps us going. When we hear stories, when we hear songs, when we fall in love, we listen to a certain kind of music. Well, when we fall out of love, we listen to a certain kind of music. We watch certain kinds of films. So for every age group, for every person in whatever fields that they are, whatever life they are living, I believe it's a social responsibility to make a film entertaining as well. Entertainment doesn't mean making them laugh or making them cry,
Yeah.
but to keep them, to bring them out of their lives for that particular 2 hours.
Interesting. Kind of
Yeah,
wrapping it up, a couple additional questions for you. One
yeah,
is I know that you've come from a television background as well. You were in television shows in India. What for you is the biggest difference between television shows and kind of doing short films that are a little bit more condensed? They might, be less long running beyond just the obvious, which is, you have to give a lot more shots for Indian television films and it might be a
yeah.
little dramatic. But maybe like what is that one big difference when you're approaching your character that is different between, soap operas that come on Indian television versus feature films or films in general or web series is?
This is something very interesting. I subconsciously always knew that, okay, I need to make this shift to films and web at some point of my life.
Okay.
So I had this in my mind since day one when I started television.
Mhm.
I won't uh, fall for that routine. When acting gets into your muscles, when you know what to do, when you when you exactly know what to do, that can become problematic. Because when you're working in television, you are almost shooting for 365 days a year. You
Yeah.
hardly get any breaks. You shoot for 14, 16, 20 hours. You do 5, 6 shifts in one go. You do 5, 8, 10 scenes in one day. You get the scenes and the scripts on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no point of even discussing of characterization. You don't even get time to do your lines. Forget characterization, and that's not a complaint, but that's how the medium works. You
Mhm.
have to deliver 30 minutes of footage that has to go on air every day. So you can't really depend on the nitty-gritties of it. You just have to go with the flow. You just have to take the script, do the lines, perform your best. The director gives his best. The edit team gives its best, and there is a certain palette that has to be taken care of for the channel as well. So you can't go beyond that. You can't do anything different. So you have to write in a certain way. You have a certain way of writing. Within some time, every actor will look like the same. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's performing the same way because the writing is same. because
Okay.
the palette of the channel is same. Because the audience wants that. So you can't really experiment. You can experiment on your looks. You can maybe do a few things here and there just to experiment, but not really going into the depth of it because you don't have time. So it's exactly opposite when it comes to short films or films or web shows for that matter. You at least have some time. Like I got the script of Madam Driver a month before the film. We shot the film. So I went through the script 8, 10, 20 times. I don't even remember.
Mhm.
So that gives me a starting and an ending to my story, to my character, which I now know how it will be
Yeah.
while performing. While performing, the other actors, they have also studied their characters. They have also studied their films. So you
Mhm.
get a lot of input from them also. You can't just completely depend on your preparation. You have to be dependent on the other actors' preparations also. So, and because they have also got the time, they have the experience, it becomes a different energy altogether. The output is different. The feeling of working on a set is completely different. Having said that, I believe that everybody should do television at least for 1 year in their lives,
Mhm.
be it any department. It grills you like anything. It can just bring out the best out of you. And if you think negatively of it, it can bring out the worst out of you. I took it as a film school for me, where I get to face the camera for 24 hours every day, 12 hours every day for years. And, doing so many different scenes, playing so many different characters. So it's all a learning. It's all a learning. I didn't take it for granted. Okay, now I know what my scene would be. I'll do it how I do it always. I always try to do something new, try to create something new with whatever little space I got. Maybe that didn't fit well in the norms of television. Luckily, I got shows that were not regular daily soaps,
Mhm.
so I had the scope of playing different characters. You know, so television really really helped me. That now when I read a film script, if I go through it once or twice, I know it all. I know
Mhm.
it all in the sense I know the lines.
Yeah.
Now I can dig in. I can dig in deeper. So the basic battle is done. Now I can dig in deeper and maybe try and improve myself in different other ways, rather than just sticking on the lines and doing the basic things. That television has done for me over the past 7, 8 years. Doing more than 800 episodes. It means something. We don't, really give the credit to television actors mostly.
Yeah.
If we see someone who's done 20 odd episodes in some web show, we consider him to be a senior actor. Oh, he's done 20 episodes in that show. He was there for 20 episodes. What about that actor who's done 1,000 episodes of one show?
Mhm.
But because of the context and because of the type of dramas that we offer to the audience, it looks like he's been doing the same thing and he's the same person who he was 10 years back. But that's not the case. There is some evolution happening. There is some growth happening inside one's mind, one's body. If somebody performs for 1,000 episodes, it's a big experience. So I think TV does that to people. And if they're aware, and if they're ready to give up whatever they're learning and do something new, and if they're ready to give up that ego, which one gets after being on the camera for so many days, so many years, the ego of not waiting, the ego of always listening to a yes on set, then it can become a little easier for you to take a shift. Like I shifted from TV to web and films, I was prepared for rejections. I was prepared to get stereotyped as a TV actor because I cannot fight the norms. Nobody can.
Yeah.
What happens in life will happen. But I can be prepared. I can learn from every rejection and I can study what the market wants.
Mhm.
So I need to mold myself according to what's happening rather than being rebellious about why not me? Why don't you count my experience? Why am I still a fresher? I can't fight that. It is what it is. So it's better to look inward, work inward, rather than fighting what's outward. That's what helps. This is what I feel.